Welcome back to this Tiantian Xiangqi tutorial, and we're looking at the ranking system. You can find the ranking system in your profile. It's the second option here. And you can see that there is a lot of information. Now, most of it we're not going to go through in too much depth because a lot of it is for other modes of playing. So Tiantian Xiangqi has multiple ways that you can play. Different modes such as double chess, mini chess. They roll out limited time play modes. And all of the rankings for each of those modes is shown in your profile here. But we're just going to focus on the first two, which is the chess skills assessment. By far the most popular playing mode is the standard traditional Xiangqi matches. So if you go to play a game, you'll see the different modes here. We've got double chess. This is a limited time offering, probably won't exist by the time you see this video. We have the chess skills assessment, which is the main one. As I said, this is by far the most popular option. This is the one we're going to take a look at today. The coins market, some other ways of playing. But back to our profile rankings, we see two pieces of information that are important to pay attention to. The first is sort of a ranked title, if you will. And this first character means student. So student level 2-3. Then there's a point value associated with it, which is minus 45. Don't get confused thinking that these are the same as Western Chess Elo system. They're not. I'll make a short comparison at the end of the video about how these could be possibly mapped. But just the fact that a negative number is even possible tells you this is not the Elo system. So if we click on my ranking, we'll see my progress. Let me zoom out. When I started playing, I started at this minus 170 or so. I think that's pretty much the initial starting point for new accounts. Started playing, growing my skills. Got all the way up to 35, and then recently I've had a losing streak. Not exactly sure why, but I need to work on it. But every time you play a game, you gain or lose points. And the amount of points that you get depend on the skill level of your opponent. So if your opponent is in a lower level than you and you beat them, you're only going to get 5 points. If they are at a higher level than you and you beat them, you're going to get 15 points. Each level or number is given a ranking. In my case, it's student 2-3. And they don't show you the ranking table in a convenient place here, so I'll show you where to find that. You can find it by looking at one of your games. Click on your public profile. And then click on your ranking. And here you're going to see the definitions for the ranks and the point values. So the lowest possible rank is student 1-1, which is equivalent to minus 250. And they have these divided into different ranks with sublevels. So student 1-1, student 1-2, student 1-3, and then you graduate up to student 2-1, student 2-2. Until you get up to student 3-3, and then after that, you get to become an amateur 1-1, and that's given 0 points. So all of these levels are clearly for beginners. Amateur 1-1 knows how to play the game, but still definitely makes some blunders. And that ranking system continues all the way up until amateur 9-3, and that's given a value of 1800, after which you get the professional tier. And in previous versions of Tiantian Xiangqi, they actually had a different Chinese character for this. It was called the God tier, and they changed it for rebranding purposes. But this is where more of the high-level players and grandmasters are going to be. Now, like an Elo system, it does get progressively harder to advance. You see that some of these lower levels only require 10 points increase to move up to the next sub-level, 10 points, 10 points, and then it changes to needing 20 points to move up to the next level, and then 30 points to move up to the next level, and so forth. So it gets more and more difficult. You have to have a lot of wins against other players to reach some of these higher levels. So that's the basic ranking system. So again, there's just 3 main tiers. There's the student tier, the amateur tier, and the professional tier. If we go back into the chess performance evaluation, we can see some of the higher level players. These are games that people are currently spectating. So we'll just take a look at one here. And this is a live match between these two players. We have a professional 1-1 and an amateur 9-3 playing. Now, I did find some additional information from an official Tencent source. It's pseudo-official, but I'll show you what I mean by that. If we go to the Chess Friends mini program, This is where there's lots of community posts and some official posts as well. I'm going to click on the featured post section here. Scroll down. And this is the post that I saw. So Tiantian Xiangqi's official account posted this and just asked the Xiangqi community, what did they think of this? And this is a categorization for some of these different ranks. So they've put student 1 through amateur 4 in this beginner level, and then amateur 5 through amateur 8-2 in an entry level players. Amateur 8-3 through 9-3 is called the strong amateurs. And then lastly, the top amateurs and professional track, they've categorized those professional tiers. And they have some little descriptions here. So I translated those and made a nice infographic for us to look at. So they gave little titles for each of these tiers. So student 1 is getting started. Student 3 is a chess trainee. Amateur 1 entering the scene. Amateur 3 and 4, low-level amateur. Amateur 5, 6, and 7 show early promise. Wins often depend on luck. Can sweep casual opponents. And it's not until you get to amateur 8-1 and 8-2 that they say you're now a solid tournament competitor. And above that, you're probably playing in some actual tournaments. So their titles relate to that. We've got town, county, and city levels. And eventually in the top amateurs and professional track, we have city champions, provincial champions, women's grandmaster, chess association master, well-known local expert or a master, and then finally, elite master or grand master. Now, you might be wondering, how do these relate to the Western Elo system? First off, disclaimer, it doesn't. But just for fun, let's suppose we wanted to map these rankings, which these rankings, by the way, they're not even related to the official Xiangqi Association rankings. This is just Tiantian Xiangqi's own internal ranking system. Kind of like how chess.com's Elos don't always match up with real world over-the-board ratings. Tiantian Xiangqi does their own system and doesn't make any claims that it actually matches up with anything else. But again, just for fun and to make sure that you understand that there's a huge disclaimer to this, I asked 3 different AIs to produce a mapping for these descriptions. So getting started, new player, wins often depend on luck, township level, city champion, and so forth. So I asked it to approximate, based on the descriptions given for each of these ranks, what an equivalent Western chess Elo would be. So this beginner level is a 100 to 1300 Elo, and that kind of makes sense because in a lot of Western chess tournaments, anything under maybe 1400 is considered a beginner level. Entry level players are in this 1300 to 1950. Strong amateurs are 1950 to 2250. And then, of course, the top amateurs of professional track are 2350 to 2750. And so this kind of roughly gives you a sense of what these ratings might mean if they're compared to Western Elo. Again, there's no official mapping. There's no statistical work going on behind the scenes here showing an actual comparison. This is just a rough idea that you might find useful to anchor yourself if you're coming from Western chess. So I hope that helps you understand the ranking system in Tiantian Xiangqi. If you want to level up your Xiangqi skill, like and subscribe for more videos just like this.